Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
We recently had the opportunity to check out the latest film from Chinimble Lore, the psychological thriller The Forever Room. With us to discuss it is the writer Vickie Hicks and director Kevin Hicks. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys for coming on. Yeah. So before we get into the movie, which I really want to talk about, I wanted to give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves, to kind of tell our listeners a little bit about your filmmaking career and what you've been doing.
The Forever Room is the third film that we've done in the past several years. We've been writing for quite a long time, and we've actually done 5 feature films and 1 feature-length documentary in the past. Chinimble has, which, by the way, that's an anagram of our children's name. In case you're
awesome.
wondering.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah,
I thought you did it just to rhyme with Civil Gore, the podcast. I thought
there you go. Yeah. No, it's something we came up when we started the production company years ago. It was something we came up with, and it sounded very Irish, something Kevin's always secretly wanted to be. So that's where that came from.
I like it though; it stands out. You know, it's unique. So
yeah, that's great. So, what are some of the other movies you guys have done?
The other 2 that we have in distribution right now is Doppel and Dead Air, which are both sort of Doppel's a little more like thriller horror, and Dead Air's more in the supernatural thriller sort of vein.
Now, how did you guys get started into filmmaking? What made you decide to get into the movie making business? I'm always interested in how people get started in that, because it seems like a very challenging thing to do.
Well, it's funny. A quick version is I went out to LA to be an actor, met Vickie. We had our son, Robin, and then decided we didn't want to raise kids in LA and moved out, and then kind of did other stuff for about 10 years and then got back into entertainment when right after I started doing added video production to my audio production company. And then and from there, literally the expression is we make movies because I didn't like Napoleon Dynamite. I watched Napoleon Dynamite, and I was really gunning for it, and I was so excited. And when I watched it, it just didn't resonate with me, and I was like, I can do that. So
nice.
So seven movies later, 15 years, and here we are. So we made 4 movies in the latter half of the aughts, and then basically we did a lot of like production for business, B2B, video production, all that stuff for the past 10 years, and then got back into movies when we were a little bit more settled in our career, the career that pays the bills.
Very cool.
Yeah, we know that this podcast definitely is not that for us, but we do love it. So let's get actually into Forever Room. So where did the inspiration for this come from? Because this is a very cool premise. So I would love to hear about where you got the inspiration for this.
Well, when we did Dead Air, we had already planned to shoot that, and it was scheduled right after the COVID lockdown. And so we got it done. We got the post done, and we're like, we can't do anything. Nobody can do anything. So why don't we do another film? And I had this idea, and I've had it for a while, of a woman just sort of waking up chained in a basement, and she has no memory of how she got there, no clue what's going on. And I liked it because it was contained. It's in one space. It's minimal characters. And I thought this would be perfect for the COVID situation. We can go into production on another film, and we can just keep it very contained with a very minimal crew, minimal talent, and everybody can be safe, and we can still shoot a movie. And so from there, this idea of this woman waking up, and I was like, you obviously don't want to go somewhere creepy and gross. Some guy has her chained down there. It was like, what's creepier than that? Having her mother chain her up. And so that from there, it's like, why would she do that? What, and you just kind of follow that train of thought. And Kevin and I worked together a lot on the writing, and we bounce ideas back and forth. And so 12 versions later of the script, we finally went into production on it.
Yeah,
Very nice.
It's great because I've heard that a lot too, where the COVID situation really had kind of inspired filmmakers to create a minimalistic approach, and some of the greatest stuff is coming out from this film included too, because I thought that whole minimalist approach of just like small characters, one setting, really that's really what I think takes a lot of talent. I think you guys did that so well. I mean, it was such a great you felt claustrophobic, you felt like you were kind of chained in there with her the whole time, and it's good to see that, just because I mean, we were hit with this horrible global pandemic, yet it's kind of spawned creativity in ways that you wouldn't necessarily expect. I think so. I always find that fascinating when I hear that, like the basis, one of the reasons this movie was the way it was because of something, and you guys still found a way to get creative and make something so great.
Thank you.
Well,
It's
yeah,
actually, I
thank you.
refer to it as my COVID movie because I think everybody was feeling chained.
We
and
all
confined.
we all can relate to Claire, right?
Yeah.
At least we could last year, certainly. Yeah, I mean, we had made Dead Air intentionally, literally in a basement, and then like Vickie said, our next project was going to be bigger, but then we had to basically pivot if we were going to make another one. So yeah, I mean, we're pretty proud of the fact that we shot 2 full features during COVID. I mean, it's so we're happy about that, and we're also happy about the way that Forever Room turned out. It really turned out probably better than we were hoping, considering the limitations that we had. So, and a lot of that has to do with the writing. Obviously, Vickie's work in it, and then all 3 of the actresses that we had, Sam, Vickie, and Nicole, all just crushed it, and it wouldn't be half the movie that it turned out to be if they hadn't been so solid.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Especially Samantha, she carried this entire film and she did it just beautifully. I mean, she's a really solid actress. So, and I think that's difficult to do, to have one person pretty much having to carry an entire movie like that.
It's funny, we were going to bring that up, Tim. I'm just going to jump to that question about that, and then you can go back to the one you were going to have. Yeah, so I was going to say, speaking of acting, I mean, both your performances in there were great too. Kevin, you had that one character in there that which I can't really explain, I guess,
Right.
who you are per se for the people
Right.
that haven't seen it yet. But Vickie, your character is a lot more pronounced right away. So you guys were both amazing. But yeah, Samantha was, I was going to say her performance was incredible. Actually, she really, really like blew me away. Now did you, how do you feel she captured the vision you had for that character? I mean, was it exactly the way you wrote it, or did she add something to it that you maybe didn't expect?
Well, I think she certainly brought her own viewpoints to it, and which is always great. I mean, that's why it's a collaborative thing, making films. She brought in things, but we cast, we did audition for the role, for both the role of Claire and Rebecca, and we went through quite a few actresses, and actually we were very close to casting another young woman for that, and we were having Samantha read for the role of Nicole, but there was just something about
Nicole's
her.
role.
Nicole, for the Rebecca. And so, Kevin said, why don't you read for Samantha? I'm sorry, I keep getting the actress's name for Claire. And so she did, and she just nailed it. Because what we liked is she brought, instead of making her just completely vulnerable, she brought an inner strength to it that we really liked. That we hadn't really anticipated, and she just brought that in. We thought it would make it a much more interesting character. So she literally took that role away from another actress.
Oh wow.
And not only that, her performance at the very end, that last sequence at the very end, I'm not going to go into what's it entail, but you guys have seen it, so you know what I'm talking about. Her delivery of within that scene was so different from what I had anticipated, and it was actually a fluke. It was serendipity that it happened. She was in the middle of doing that take, and our boiler kicked in, and so the whole house started shaking, and and rumbling, and so went upstairs, turned the thermostat down so the boiler wouldn't turn on again. And then she and Sam actually said, "Can I just do it this way, a different way?" And that was the performance. The entire performance of that one take is what we used, and it just completely changed the timbre of the entire end. And then I feel it changed the whole. What you take away from the film is almost confusing from what you would take away from most horror movies. So, but it really was the performance, and the movie is what it is because of the actresses that we cast and what they brought to it, and being prepared every single day, because we had to cover a lot of material every day. We shot this in 10 days. So
Wow.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. She was. I was gonna say one more thing too. Yeah, she was so good about her. I think is what you said. How she brought like the different level, and you do feel like as that movie progresses, you have different opinions of her character. As things get revealed, as you see how she reacts to things, and then the ultimate result at the end. It's actually. I can't imagine that being an easy task to do, but I think she nailed it. So you guys are right. She really got that character, I think.
Yeah, she did an exceptional job. It's amazing to me that she's not SAG, because we had to do a non-union shoot because of COVID. So it was, yeah, she's a find. She really is. She's going to go places as an actress, I think.
Yeah.
Awesome. This next question is kind of maybe more for Vickie, but also to you, Kevin. I'm always interested, especially in these small, minimal character shoots. You often get where the writers or the directors are playing roles in their own movie. So Vickie, when you wrote that character, did you always know that you were going to play that character, or did it present any challenges writing for a character that you're going to play yourself?
I actually didn't think I would be playing it when I initially wrote it.
Wow.
No. So, and the funny thing is I don't really, it was a great experience. I don't really consider myself an actress so much. But it's a challenge, because what was challenging is as I was working as a producer and trying, and being the second lead in it. And like Kevin said, it was a 10-day shoot. It was it was reasonable. It wasn't, the horror stories that people love to tell about indie films, but they were really long days, and it was just a lot of stuff to juggle. And, you're still trying to remember what you're doing at that moment, try and give, a decent performance for it. But no, I didn't write it for myself.
You were so good though. It was so it seemed like such a
that's what I figured. It was just, I knew I'm gonna play this, so I'm just gonna write it. So yeah.
No, I'm just really good at being creepy old ladies.
No, but to be honest, that Vickie does downplay her abilities, because she has acted before in the past. We both have. It's not a focus for either one of us career wise, but it's nice to be able to be believable, especially when you are on such a tight budget. I go back to a director that I really like a lot, Ed Burns, and he was talking about he had never meant to start an acting career. He just knew that he was going to show up. So if he gave himself a part, that was one less phone call and one less person he had to worry about. And that's kind of what where we're coming from. But that aside, out of a necessity, a utility situation, Vickie is actually a very, very good actress, and she'll never say that, but I will say that.
Yeah, no, you were. I was going to say she was, but she's right here. You were, because especially again, towards the end of the film, which we can't really discuss. There are some moments where you really come through with some great acting chops, so to speak. So it's there's some, you definitely had some hard moments there. So, yeah, I would not sell yourself short for sure on that, because you did an amazing job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, acting is so important, and you don't realize how good actors are until you see bad acting, and then you realize what kind of a talent it really is to just be that believable and really bring the viewer into an immersive experience watching the film. And all three of them, I think, did that with flying colors. You really feel like you're in there in that room with them, almost as like an invisible observer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that energy has to do with their performance and their presence, and they also had very good chemistry. They really worked well with each other too. There was actually really not a lot of directing character stuff that I had to do. They came prepared, and they really just kicked it out, which is good, because we had really tight days, because a lot of those sequences had very, several setups and all that stuff. So something that might have happened within 30 seconds is 7 or 8 setups. That's half a day right there, or close to it. So we really had to bust through everything that we had. So not only were they prepared, but they were really good too. And so we really hit gold with that.
So Brian, you want to take this next one? It was originally for me, but I think we swapped some questions around.
Yeah. So actually, we mentioned the setting a little bit earlier. So, largely takes place in the single room, which essentially becomes a character in itself. What went into the design of that movie? I mean, that one clown thing was
I'm not
creepy.
scared of clowns, but that really still creeped me out.
Yeah, I'm not really either. I'm like not one of those clowns scare me, but that thing did. I don't know what.
Well, I mean, that was because I did the set design on this, and that was really the idea. Is you take these sad clowns, but you just make them wrong. Just stuff off. Hands are too short. Just those just odd little things, and then you put them in this weird orange space. And something that I don't, maybe some people will pick up on. I'm not sure if everyone will. I hope they do. There were those 4 clown paintings, and each of them actually represents one of the characters that are there. If you notice, they focus on a clown when a character leaves or is about to enter. But yeah, they're creepy, and they were meant to be creepy. It's just like, and just having like the slats down on the wall. But we did that also because it could let in all that light on her sitting on the cot, that kind of slatted light, which was really cool.
And I think if you describe this movie to somebody, you did the 2-sentence log line for this movie, people are gonna imagine something like the set of Saw or something like that, something really dingy, really grimy, and all that stuff. And so we wanted to kind of make it sort of bright and pretty, but in a weird kind of way at the same time. The one word that we always use was, is this wrong enough? We wanted to make something that just wasn't quite, just didn't feel right. And I'm really glad that you guys picked up on it because it was intended to be almost a character in and of itself. And it's kind of cool that you picked up on that it didn't feel like at first the right setting, but then it kind of grows on you and it just becomes this whole entity in and of itself.
Yeah, I got vibes a little bit of the Red Room from Twin Peaks. I don't know if you've seen that show, that whole thing. And,
yeah,
and
a million
even,
years ago.
Yeah, and even some of the way the edits.
We were alive when that first came out.
Yeah, well, they and I'm a huge Twin Peaks fan, so it's like I usually can see that in any little like the little slightly subtle reference to it or anything. And I don't know if it's intentional, but like even some of the cuts you did where there would be a character there and then it would just zoop and disappear and then you're back in the creepy room with just one character. And so I was like, that I totally got those vibes. So I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it was so well done and it was very, I get you to use your word, wrong, because I'm just like, okay, something is off constantly. There was always this unsettling feeling the entire time, even when, maybe should have been like a more of a calm moment, like when she, was trying to eat a sandwich or, it was just, very like unsettling moments. So I thought that was really well done. And yeah, and Tim and I are always big fans of when a set piece becomes a character. So we're very attuned to that kind of process. So
Yeah, especially in a movie like this, I think where feeling trapped along with Claire is drives a lot of the tension. So yeah, I thought the room was the one thing that was constantly keeping me on edge. I think was that location, just feeling like I can't get out of this location.
Yeah, well, especially when there was like that
Yeah.
with the side room where where it like looked like she could look over and there was almost another room in there. That was super creepy because I'm like, oh, maybe it's because you almost get this thing like, wait, are there more people down here with there was a lot of really unsettling shots and it was just so I thought that was so great because when a movie can elicit an unsettling feeling like that at the same time as you're enjoying it, to me that's a win always.
Yeah,
and we really wanted this to sort of like stray from a lot of the stereotypes and a lot of the tropes that you see these days. Not that we stayed away from them entirely, because I think certain people expect that some things to happen in horror, but we really wanted this to be as unique of an experience as possible. It's almost impossible to reinvent the wheel in films these days, but if you take some of those basics and really try to think of how else could we do this, and I don't like the expression thinking outside of the box, but it really is kind of that sort of an idea with, okay, what would people expect here, and what can we do differently with the characters? Like Vickie's saying, it's not some creep, it's her mother that's gotten her, and other things that just you wouldn't normally expect. Like the second or third option is sort of what we were going for when we approached this creatively. So and I'm glad that you picked up on that, because we think that it turned out a pretty dynamic show considering its financial and spatial limitations.
Oh yeah, no, we both really
absolutely
loved it. So
yeah. Well, guys, we're coming up on time, but I wanted to give you guys a chance to tell our listeners where they can find the film, when it's coming out, all that kind of good stuff.
Well, actually, it's coming out tomorrow.
There you go.
August 24th.
August 24th. And it's VOD. It's going to be on iTunes, Apple TV, Vudu, Google Play, Prime, Fandango Now, and there's some others that I don't know.
Yeah, but the major ones that you would expect to see it on, you will see it. So basically, wherever you tend to go to rent or buy your films, you should be able to find it here there.
Excellent, guys. Well, of course, we'll put links in the show notes and everything. When we release this.
See, the clown unsettled him so much.
I know.
Right.
I'm still having flashbacks there.
Well, I've got mine in my office. It's hanging on the wall right over here.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely be sure to promote this on our social media, and I hope our listeners will go ahead and check this one out because it's really cool. Film.
Yeah, I think our listeners usually they tend to like our recommendations, which is good. So we're gonna definitely hopefully they'll follow suit with this one.
Yeah.
As well.
That's great. Well, we really appreciate Civil Gore giving us this opportunity, and we're really thrilled that you guys both like the movie. We're really
absolutely.
Yeah, so definitely everyone needs to check out the Forever Room, as they mentioned, and we'll put all the links in our show notes where you can check it out.
Tim, Brian, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.